Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Island Church Weekly Podcast. Pastor Will, thanks for joining me today. How
Good to
are
be
you?
with you.
How was Sunday at Island Church?
It was another good Sunday. We opened up the service with a little Motown rhythms
Oh,
to an old hymn. I'm
awesome.
not sure. I didn't know such existed, and so we got off to a great start. It was a lot of people here. It was a good feel in terms of our service, and Sandy and the gals said so they got the closest they could get to some Motown, and said their pastor enjoyed Motown, and I happened to be coming up. I had been upstairs and came downstairs. So Sandy says our pastor does this, and the music started. So I gave a little bebop, head bop
You
moving
little
in,
to it?
got a little clap going. So
That's about the
anyway,
most Pentecostal I think you're going to get.
so if you weren't here on Sunday, just take a look at the service, and it was a good service. So we did that. We just continued down this series of All In, the All In family, and we looked at just relationships and from God's design for relationships, to then how do we handle relationships, and we looked at some of the purpose of relationships, the problem of relationships. We looked at some of the preservatives. How do you preserve a relationship? And so it was a good service, and it was a good Sunday in terms of our worship time and the conversations before the service and after. We had some new guests and had some people that have indicated they're going to actually join our church, and so that's always a good thing. And we don't make a big to do of that, but we will probably make an announcement for 6 or 7 people here shortly. So.
Awesome. So, what's coming up in the life of the church that people need to know about? I know groups have already kind of started back for the semester, but what else is kind of going on?
Well, the groups are going, and for Monday night group started up last night, and we're filming early this week, and we've got the men's group started back on Tuesday, and we've got Thursday night group with the Rileys, and we're going to have a new group in October. Sandy and I are going to lead for people that aren't engaged in a group. If you'd like to come get connected to that, we're going to go through the Heart Attitudes. About 6 weeks, you'll be in and out on that, and so that's kind of out there. But on September 22nd, we're going to have Leo Schofield with us. So he is got a remarkable story. I even had someone last night that told me they had listened to him preach in a church at Clearwater, and they had watched it, and they were so impressed with how he told his tragic story. And he wouldn't necessarily put it that way, but 36 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Now they have a confessed person that involved the death of the murder of his wife. And so and I'm not sure about his wife, Chrissy. He's now been married almost 30 years, 29 years to Chrissy. And I'm not sure if she'll be with us, but we're going to have a big time on the 22nd, hearing from him and hearing his story. We're probably going to do, if you kind of mark this early, we're probably going to start at 9:15 in terms of our kind of gathering. The service still at 10. We'll probably do some sausage and biscuits or something like this. So you'll get a chance to meet him. And if you haven't taken a look at his story, you can do a quick search online, but there's a 2020 program. We've sent out some information where you can just maybe read a 5 to 7 minute article if you like to do that. But I really encourage you, if you experience somebody doing you wrong, you're struggling, you're dealing with forgiveness, you want to trust God more, those are the kinds of major things that'll be in this story. It will not be just here's my prison story. It's not going to be that. And you'll want to be here if at all possible on the 22nd and invite some friends as well. So I know numerous people are looking forward to doing that. But here's a guy that could be bitter and be damaged and just be mad at the world, but that's not the case. And one of the beautiful things is we're also going to take an offering that particular day towards our missions, or at least make it available. A person can give to our missions offering, but Leo and the ministries he was leading, he was in essence the pastor of one of the 3 churches that we sponsor in the prison. And so he wants to thank our people. And so it's a good opportunity for us to re-up in terms of our commitment towards mission. So we have the mission fund, the Island Church and beyond. And so that's the 22nd. So
Awesome.
that's going to be a big day.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, that's great. So how can folks be praying for the church?
Well, you think about Leo's coming. I'd say now I have an opportunity to spend some hours with him and just praying for him. That doesn't pray necessarily for our church, but we want to continue to be an outreach, mission focused church, both on the island and beyond. And so Leo represents kind of our beyond, because we can't anyone just walk into the prison. We're certainly thankful for Mark and Ty and their ministry, their longtime ministry into the prison. But we want to think about our neighbors and our friends. And so maybe you'd be asking God to put someone on your mind and your heart. Won't be long. We'll have trunk or treat here. We'll have some other kinds of events that are going on. And so we just need to be engaged with people. It's one of the things I talk about in terms of doing personal evangelism is just loving on people, which earns you the right to share the gospel with them. And so just ask God, who might he have around you that you can begin to invite and love on and care for.
Love it.
And do that this week.
Cool. Well, Pastor Will, thank you so much for the time this week. Thank you for sharing your heart, sharing what's going on at the church. And thank you all for watching. Thanks for tuning in each week. Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's the best way to stay up to date on all the sermons, on these podcasts, on any other special videos we may have. And we will see you back here next week on the Island Church Podcast.